Hi guys, this is one of the important topic related to Java design pattern. And apart from that, also we will learn how you can use the different design patterns. मतलब different design patterns हम कैसे use करेंगे, Java design patterns हम कैसे use कर सकते हैं. तो here in this example, I have created some of the design pattern related to implemented related to creational design pattern. So connection pool and the factory. तो बेसिकली द आइडिया इज कि वी वांटेड टू क्रिएट अ जेनेरिक कनेक्शन पूल हियर. ठीक है, तो एक जेनेरिक कनेक्शन पूल हम क्रिएट करेंगे और जेनेरिक कनेक्शन पूल जो होगा उसके थ्रू वी विल गेट दैट डिफरेंट कनेक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट. ठीक है, सो फर्स्ट this class here I have created some of the classes here, so I will just explain it to you. So I have created one of that abstract pool. This abstract pool has some method जिसमें गेट कनेक्शन है, इनिशियलाइज कनेक्शन पूल है, स्टॉप पूल मीन्स डिलीट द पूल, राइट, और रिलीज कनेक्शन मीन्स यू विल रिलीज द कनेक्शन टू अ पूल. ठीक है, नाउ this is the basically a pool. This abstract class which we are going to an initial connection size, I have just put it here 5. You can also put some of that other methods. I have just used that abstract method here. You can also add some of the methods or related to logic also. वहाँ पे आप दूसरा भी logic आप add कर सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पर initialize pool इसलिए यूज किया है कि फर्स्ट जो हम पूल साइज इनिशियलाइज करेंगे वहां से हम पूल क्रिएट करेंगे थ्रू अ इनिशियलाइज पूल, और उसके बाद में और जो इनिशियलाइज पूल साइज होगा वो होगा 5. ठीक है, एंड देन वी हैव दैट रिलीज कनेक्शन. जब भी हम कनेक्शन यूज कर लेंगे वी विल रिटर्न इट टू अ रिलीज कनेक्शन. यदि हमें पर्टिकुलरली गेट कनेक्शन करना है तो वी विल से अ गेट कनेक्शन, राइट. Now, if you will just say key, if you wanted to create, so this abstract connect pool we have implemented, I have created a Postgres connection pool. So majorly as of now, we are talking about connection object or connection pool from database connection. Okay. So in this class, I have created, I am not writing the code here. I have already created. So you can see this connection, Postgres connection pool as extend the abstract, and we have override these methods. Which one? Release connection, get connection, and stop connection. So when we are talking about stop connection, release connection, so I have created one of that list, which is nothing but that java.sql.connection. ठीक है, उसका एक एरे लिस्ट है और उस एरे लिस्ट को बेसिकली हम लोग वहां पर ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करेंगे. ठीक है, तो इनिशियलाइज पूल में बेसिकली वी विल क्रिएट एन ऑब्जेक्ट हियर. तो अब ये ऑब्जेक्ट जब हम क्रिएट करेंगे उसके लिए वी आर यूजिंग अ कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री. तो कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री, अब हम कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री में जाएंगे. हम कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री विल प्रोवाइड द क्लास विच इज प्रोवाइडिंग टू कनेक्शन हियर. So this is a connection factory and it will say get connection object, and what type of what we can say uh, the connection we need it. Based on that we will call to that particular class which will create a connection. So Postgres connection is basically we have created here what we can call as दिस क्लास पोस्टग्रेस कनेक्शन. ठीक है, अब ये पोस्टग्रेस कनेक्शन इंप्लीमेंट्स द एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कनेक्शन. तो एक और एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कनेक्शन क्लास हमने क्रिएट किया हुआ है बेसिकली इन इंटरफेस जस्ट टू क्रिएट कनेक्शन हियर, राइट. So if you wanted to add, there are some certain points if you wanted to add some method, depart methods and all these things, you can do it, right. I have just given a skeleton, you can use it. So Postgres connection has the method for create connection. As of now, I have hard coded these details. You can put these details for URL, driver class name and all this. You can move into a some of the properties and you can get from the system dot, right, get properties and you can read it these details. So these properties which is highway hard coded, you can move into a what we can call as a read from the property file. Okay, so you need to read it from the property file. So you can simply you can use a system dot get properties and something like that, you can read it, right. So this is the way you can get it from this, right. I'm talking about simple Java application. Okay, so now we have what we have here. We have create connection and this is create connection will create a connection here. Okay, if it is something what we can call as if any exceptions we are printing a stack trace, but also we can say throw ex. Okay. And you can also basically throw this exception into a throw ex, right? So you can say exception here, right? Once you are throwing the exception, this is additional details. Additionally, we need to put it here. We will take it later here, right? So I need to add that throw clause because we need to handle the exception properly. Okay. So this Postgres connection implements the abstract connection. Abstract connection is a simple interface which is having a one method create connection. Why we have created this. So let's say if I wanted to create a one more different class, something we call as MySQL connection. So in that scenario, what I will say, MySQL connection, and this MySQL connection, what we will do it here. Here it will implements, right, abstract connection. Okay. So now you need to override this method here. This method is nothing but whatever we are writing into a Postgres connection. In this Postgres connection, what we are doing it here, I will copy this entire code. Okay. And I will move into a MySQL connection. Okay. So in the MySQL connection, what you are doing it here you can change to a, let's say, 5 3306, something like that, right? So you can check the port and here you can say org dot, just giving a simple, what we can say, MySQL dot driver. It's just a name. It is not exactly the name. You can find out the name, right? Here is will also be a MySQL, right? So you can check that URL string and driver class name. I'm just giving a name here, right? So what you can say, check that driver name and the URL string for MySQL, right? So MySQL, you can check it. And so whenever you are implementing, if you need a MySQL connection, you can get it. So as of now, we have implemented here. So this will also give it. Now, if you are coming back to a connection factory, so in this connection factory, if you need Postgres connection, you will get it. But if you need it, something we call as, right, else if, right? And here you can say type dot equals. So what you will say here, you will say MySQL. Okay. And if you have this MySQL, then what you can say here, you will say return new, right? What is the MySQL? MySQL connection, right? Like this. So you will return the object of a MySQL. So this way you are getting the factory for connection factory here, right? Like this. So what you have done it, you can just understand it. We are getting is Postgres connection. If you are adding some more, so you can add that, add other logic for, uh, let's say MongoDB, maybe let's say you can say, or document DB, etc. So what type of connection you need it, based on that you can use it. Now you also need to do one more thing here. Here we have created, now you will get that connection, right? So this create connection. So in this MySQL connection, you have created a MySQL connection, correct? Here we have written the Postgres connection. So Postgres connection will be getting returned here. Now here we are talking about connection pool. So connection pool, we have already seen it, right? In this connection pool, this is a Postgres connection pool. Correct. So is this connection pool, what you can do, this is not like exactly a Postgres connection pool. It can be basically a generic connection pool. Ideally, it is a very generic connection pool. So here, if it is database connection, MySQL connection, actually it is not having any such what we can call as uh, difference between what we can say related to different databases. So here you can also optimize, you can make this class very generic, right? So in the initialize pool, if you will just pass that, what we can do, one thing you can do it, you can create a MySQL connection pool also, right? Or you can do in the initialize pool, you can pass the particularly what we can call as the get connection object here. So what we are doing it here in this Postgres connection pool, right? So there is a two ways. Either you can add that MySQL connection pool class and you can write all these methods and everything. Else you can pass this object into connection pool and pass this Postgres string here. So if I will pass MySQL, it will return the MySQL dot create connection and it will add into this list here. Correct. So this list is basically we are just writing is for implementing it. Whenever we initialize the pool, so as per the pool size, we will basically go with the initialize pool here. Okay. And these many list will be basically list of connection will be getting created, right? Whenever we need it, release connection. So we will basically con, and what we will do it, if con is not equal to null, we will say con dot add and return true, right? Whenever we will say get connection, you will always say con dot get 0 and you will get the connection, and stop, you will basically nothing but you will assign the null and you are killing it. Correct. So like this design will be later, you need to optimize much more. I will give, there are many such drawbacks and flaws in this design and this connection tool. Correct. I will tell you what are the things you need to fix. So this design concept, always you need to fix it based on the requirement, based on the things. Correct. So as of now, this is stop pool here. Now what we are doing it here. So important point here, what we are doing it. So in this initialize connection pool, what I am saying it. So I have created as a connection factory, right? And connection factory, we have this method, something we call as giving that particular class here, correct? So which class, based on that get connection object will return that particularly, and from that we will create a connection. So if you will say, right, factory dot get connection. Now, if you need it MySQL, MySQL, if you need it Postgres, you can say Postgres, right? Dot create connection. So whatever class is there, that particular class create connection, you can add it here. Correct. So you will add these into a multiple times in the initialize pool. Correct. So release connection, get connection, and stop connection pool. These things we have covered it here. Okay. I will remove this unimported imports here. Now what I'm doing it here in this scenario, what you can do. Now this connection pool, we will come to a banking operation here, which where we are using it. So I'm saying Postgres connection pool, obj is equal to new connection pool. And first we are saying obj dot initialize pool, right? So it will create a pool of connections, right? Right. So we will also say what is the size here. Correct. So when we are saying get connection, you will get the connection is object here. Correct. And what we can call as this connection object should not be null. So here we can say system dot out dot println. Right. So this println here you will say con. Okay. So we will see this connection object. If there is actually if there is some problem, you will get some exception on error here. Also, we will say what is the initial size. Okay. So what you will say, obj connection pool dot initial size. No, we wanted to have that particularly a list, that connection list. So that connection list is not having a any such. So what we will do, come to a Postgres connection pool. Okay. And what we are saying here, Postgres connection pool, and we will add one getter method for this con list. So what we are doing it here, new or setter getters, right? सो जनरेटर सेटर्स, करेक्ट है. सो सेटर आई डोंट नीड, right? Basically, we don't wanted to do any manipulation here. So we need only a getter. So get connection, correct है. Now what we are saying, coming to a banking. अब हम बैंकिंग ऑपरेशन में वापस आ रहे हैं. थोड़ा सा जम्बल्ड हो रहा होगा बट मैं आपको डॉट राइट गेट कॉन लिस्ट डॉट साइज. तो पहले आपको ये पता चल जाएगा कि राइट साइज बिफोर गेटिंग अ कनेक्शन, ठीक है. एंड यू कैन से प्लस, ठीक है. अब मैं इसको पहले क्या करता हूँ, डिलीट, यहाँ पे ले लेता हूँ, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पर हम पहले साइज ले रहे हैं, फिर गेट कनेक्शन के बाद ले रहे हैं, फिर हम वापस एक साइज ले रहे हैं, ठीक है. फिर हम प्रिंट कर रहे हैं, फिर हम क्या करेंगे, वापस से ओबीजे डॉट रिलीज कनेक्शन, उस कनेक्शन को हम रिलीज करेंगे. और उसके बाद में वापस वी विल से आफ्टर रिलीज, ठीक है. और यहाँ पर हम बोल सकते हैं साइज आफ्टर, ठीक है. तो पहले जब हम कनेक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट वहां से ले लेंगे तो वो एक कनेक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट जो हम यूज कर रहे हैं वो कनेक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट पूल से रिमूव हो जाएगा, ठीक है. तो रिलीज कनेक्शन, जहां पर आप फिर से आप आएंगे तो हमने रिलीज कनेक्शन में क्या लिखा है कि हम वी विल ऐड दैट कनेक्शन टू अगेन इफ द कनेक्शन इज नॉट नल एडिंग इनटू अ पूल हियर. जब हम गेट कनेक्शन बोल रहे हैं तो इट विल बी गेट इट फ्रॉम हियर एंड इट विल बी रिमूव इट, राइट, लाइक दिस, करेक्ट है. लाइक नाउ वी विल जस्ट कम टू अ बैंकिंग ऑपरेशन. सो सिंपल कोड है, कुछ इसमें मेजरली लिखा नहीं है, बट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दिस पैटर्न्स गॉट इंट्रोड्यूस्ड हियर. तो अभी हमने फैक्ट्री को देखा है एंड कनेक्शन पूल को देखा हुआ है, इसके ऊपर आप एक्सट्रैक्ट फैक्ट्री भी इंप्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं, रन एज अ जावा एप्लीकेशन. यहाँ पे सेव, ठीक है. साइज बिफोर द गेटिंग कनेक्शन इज 5, साइज आफ्टर द गेटिंग कनेक्शन इज 4. तो जैसे ही आपने वो कनेक्शन ले लिया है यूज करने के लिए 4, और ये आपने देखा ये कनेक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट प्रिंट हुआ है, राइट. इट्स अ जस्ट एन ऑब्जेक्ट. जब हम प्रिंट करते हैं तो हाउ द इट विल बी लुक्स लाइक. तो ये कनेक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट है. उसके बाद जब हमने रिलीज किया है तो वापस दिस साइज इज 5 ईयर, करेक्ट. और नाउ इफ यू विल अगेन इफ यू वांटेड टू किल इट व्हाट यू विल से obj डॉट स्टॉप पूल. So you can say obj.stopful. So this way you can write that complete what we can say the connection pool framework, right? Using that factory patterns here also, and also you need to make this factory pattern what we can call as you need to make this class as a singleton. Factories has to be a singleton here. There is a one more thing you can add it here, correct? You can add one more something we called as abstract factory. ठीक है. So you can come to abstract factory, right? Right. Abstract correction factory, and then it is basically nothing but uh, this is also there is a one more method is something we can call as we will create one more interface, new interface. We will say connection factory interface, ठीक है. Why I am creating this? ये जो कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री इंटरफेस है ये बेसिकली हम यहाँ पर कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री में इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे, ठीक है. इम्प्लीमेंट्स लाइक दिस. अब यहाँ पर वी विल से एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कनेक्शन, और ये एब्स्ट्रैक्ट फैक्ट्री कनेक्शन फैक्ट्री इंटरफेस में हम यहाँ पर ले लेंगे इसको. why I'm doing this. So as of now, we are using something we can call as of now, uh, database connection. But if you need it, something we call as a maybe any other RabbitMQ connection, Kafka connections, or maybe if you need some other connection type, right? Or maybe if you are connecting to SCADA system connections, ODBC driver connections. So at this moment, you can also say for new class ODBC, right? So there are some other, not this database. If you are connecting with some other API, so you wanted to make it connection like this. So what you can say at this moment, you can say it for a ODBC connection factory. Okay. So ODBC connection factory. So ODBC connection factory here, what we can say in this scenario, ODBC connection factory, you can just change it for that, but you need to check it for this object, right? This will not be a connection object. So this is where you need to little bit unit if you wanted to make it for a connection factory. But this abstract connection factory, what will happen here? Here you can say public connection factory interface, right? Right. Get factory, right? So what is the type of segment? You can say string type here. So what type of factory you need it? So basically you need it something we call as, let's say as of now, whatever you need it, correct? So abstract factory, if correct, this type, factory type, if this factory type is not equal to null, right? And dot equals, you can say database, right? So RDS. So here you can say return new connection factory, right? Because here we are using a connection factory. We are connecting as a connection factory, correct? So in that scenario, what you are doing it here and else return null. Okay. Like this, you can add some more logic here. ODBC connection factory, add more logic here for different other connection factory. Okay. So that is the basically you can just check it how you can create that abstract factory will return the factory here. So abstract factory will give that your connection factory. Connection factory will give that connection object. So this connection object based on that, what is the data type you are using? Based on that, we will get the connection. And we are calling this factory from our pool. So we are creating a pool here and this way you are creating a pool. So you can make it as a very generic. If you will pass it something we call as initialize the pool. So if you will change it to, you can make it as a very generic pool, right? So you don't need that abstract pool here. Generic pool, you can make it here because as for database is concerned. So as of now, I have created like this, but if you are using string, right? Database type here, correct? So what you will say, you will pass this database type here. Okay. So what we are saying, correct. Now this database type is what? So it will be very generic here, correct? Now what is happening here? So you need to abstract pool also, you need to change it. So we will change it to an abstract pool, something what we can say for initialize pool as a string type, right? So database type. Okay. Now what we are doing it here. So connection pool, we are passing that what we can say in the initialize pool, correct? So what is happening here? Database type here. I will use this database type from the banking operation from where we need that complete object here. So from here, I will pass it as a Postgres, correct? Now, if I will run as a Java application. So you see, if I will make it as a MySQL, as of now, there is a no MySQL jar is there and the driver class is now. You will get some connection error for MySQL, but it will work. You just need to configure the MySQL driver jar and the MySQL driver string. Okay. So you will see, right? Driver class not found here. Okay. So this driver class not found, that's why you are getting in some error here. So like this, you can do it, but majorly this initialize pool and these things, we have tried to make it very generic. You can also optimize this design. आप ये डिजाइन को और भी ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकते हैं बट आइडियली इसकी you will make it as a abstract pool, some kind of a generic pool, and then you can extend it, something like that. Both the ways you can do it. So I think you got the point here. Let me just again run it. Postgres, right? So we have discussed about the factory, we have discussed about the connection pool, and we have discussed about the factory, right? So this way you can create. Now, if you wanted to make it as a thread safe, so that is an assignment to you guys. You need to make this design very, you can see that particular classes here, right? The connection factory I have created, right? Connection object I have created. Banking is basically from where I am getting a calling. This is the class from where I will use it, right? Another thing is that Postgres connection pool. This is a Postgres connection, abstract connection. This is nothing but your abstract connection here. Abstract connection factory and these things you can ignore it as of now if you don't want it to. I have just given an idea how you can write an abstract factory. But here you can use that ODBC factory. So like this, you can use it, right? Now Postgres connection pool, one more thing you need to do it. This connection factory is also not, you should not create the object like this. Okay. This is basically also you need to use the way we are doing it with the help of what we can call as we will create a right. So here we will say not null. And what we are doing it here, I will initialize through a constructor. So we are doing the injection as a through a simple injection, which the Spring generally does it. Correct. So in that scenario, I will say factory. And here you are also, we are seeing the injection. So this dot factory is equal to a factory, right? So you will say VJ, OBJ, this, correct? Now you will see I have just injected. I don't wanted to use any new keyword into any such class here, correct? Except this list and everything, right? This is initially you have initialized through a size and all this, correct? That is okay. Now I wanted to create a connection factory. So I'm making this creation of an object also outside, even though factory is also we are taking outside of this class. So using of an object in this class and the initialization, you can say creation of an object of a factory is we are taking it out here. So what we are doing it here, connection factory, right? Is equal to new connection factory. And you can pass this factory as a here, something we called as a just we are doing as a bean wiring. So I'm passing it here. So in this pool, we have just injected here. So I removed it. Now let's run it again one more time. Correct. So you will see the idea same. It is still working here. Correct. Now, so that's the way you need to understand how you are writing or that particular logic or that baseline architecture of your Java classes. Here you also need to, so there is some assignment. This assignment, if you are watching through the properly, you can watch it. And then what you need to do, you need to basically first thing make this entire pool framework as a thread safe, right? You need to handle the exceptions into a proper way. Also, you need to check how you can use abstract factory on top of the connection factory and how you can make it as a very generic. As of now, we have created all this factory will support to all kind of a database connections. But if you have some other types of connection except the database, how you will create other factories and you can use it and you can try it. So I hope you got the idea here, how you can use Java design patterns, right? And you can implement into real-time scenarios. So if you like it, you can definitely subscribe our channel and provide the comments.